with your hosts, Andrew Romanella.
Regular people should be in the Olympics so you can see how actually hard what some of these people are doing are. Because what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com. Broadcast live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. I got you all the way until 7:30 today here, June 20th, 2024. Fun show with a lot of different sports, show to get you ready for the rest of the day. We remind you before we get into anything, you got to get us on social media, The Rome Show 1 on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, the whole deal. You can shoot us an email, theromeshow1@gmail.com. And of course, you can support us at romeshowshop.com. That's romeshowshop.com, promo code Rome at checkout. We have a jam-packed show today, so we're going to continue going around the wide world all day. We start with a little bit of Tiger Woods, the Pistons making a change at the position of head basketball coach. A big injury in the WNBA, some Super Bowl mishaps, maybe a little college baseball if we have enough time, and of course, your daily picks. So, we got a good one for you here today on a Thursday. Just make sure you get in on the action and tell us your thoughts. Let's get it started by going. So Tiger Woods, that's right, Tiger Woods, he is still golfing. That is right. He's still attempting to golf, at least that is. And recently, Tiger Woods was granted an exemption by the PGA Tour to play in all of the signature events. So with any signature event that is going on this year on the PGA Tour, Tiger Woods now has an exemption. He does not have to qualify. He's automatically in those tournaments. And what was being said is that the PGA Tour is giving Tiger Woods this sponsorship exemption because of everything that he's done on the golf course, essentially calling it a lifetime achievement award. And Tiger said this: even if I only got one more tournament this season, even if I win the British Open, I don't think I'll be in the FedEx Cup playoffs, just one more event, and then I'll come back whenever I'm back. The board said this: as we've said in the past, we can't negotiate in public. We are making progress, Monahan said. 2 weeks ago, members of the PGA Tour Enterprise Transactions Subcommittee met in New York with the guy that runs LIV and members of the team. During that meeting, we reached consensus on several items, but both parties recognize there's still work to be done for the final agreement. Our talks are still ongoing with the goal of developing a shared vision for the future of professional golf that is pro-competitive and provides players with the best global opportunities. So a lot there to unpack. The first thing is golf believes it needs Tiger Woods, so they gave him an exemption so he can be in all of the major tournaments. It's essentially what it means. The majors and the signature events that are going to lead to the most amount of FedEx Cup points so you can get into the postseason, okay? So golf believes it needs Tiger Woods. Why? Because, as Jay Monahan just said, they're still in talks with LIV. They've negotiated the potential of a merger between the two golf leagues. And honestly, I don't know if we've heard anything about that since essentially they told us that it was going to merge. And I think you have a real issue here in golf. If you can't figure out what your business model is moving forward, and you think that your sport is so poor right now, I don't know if that's the right terminology or the right word, maybe you just feel like your sport's not in a great spot, that you're like, we got to get Tiger Woods in. We got to give Tiger Woods an exemption. And I'm tired of it. Personally, I'm over the Tiger Woods thing. I get it. Lifetime achievements. I get it. Arguably the greatest golfer to ever play the game. I also get that without Tiger Woods, you might not have the popularity today that you have in the game of golf. I get all of those things, but at some point, your play on the course should dictate what you're getting. And I understand everyone deserves, I don't know if it's a thank you or an appreciation for what they've done for the game. You know, it's like a guy that gets a contract after the 10 years. That really is when he should have had that contract. You know, it's like, all right, dude, let's use baseball, for example. Dude hits 300 with 20 homers and 100 RBIs for 10 straight years. Okay? And then you give him a 8-year, $400 million contract, and that's essentially for ages 32 to 40. And it's like, yeah, well, and you're like, well, let's hope we have 3 to 4 years of what he's given us. It's like, what? Did you just pay a dude $400 million and hope that he's going to do what he did and the reason why you gave him $400 million? It's the same thing. It's like, all right, let's keep going back to the well with Tiger. Let's keep going back to the well with Tiger because there's no one else we can sell to golf fans. There's no one else. But it doesn't have to be that way. And this is the last thing I want to say before I move on this one. Golf has to understand it doesn't need Tiger Woods anymore. It did need Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was needed. And when Tiger Woods was needed, Tiger Woods was there to save the game of golf. And after 20 years, he decided to mess up his own life off the field. And now, essentially 8 to 9 years later, even maybe 10, it really doesn't feel like he's been that dominant. And so I understand the achievements, the lifetime stuff. The PGA Tour wants to make sure they respect the guy that has done so much for the game. But does anyone really want to keep watching Tiger Woods? You know, I was watching a TV show yesterday, and they're portraying a fake football team. And one of the receivers is like a 10-year veteran. And they get a new coach on the team, and, you know, he goes, the mini camp has a little bit of a riffraff with the coach, right? And comes back from mini camp and says to his wife, I'm retiring. I'm retiring. And the wife, you know, convinced him not to, whatever. And he says to the wife, I don't want to be one of those guys that used to be X player. I want to go out while I still have some dignity and I'm still on top. And I was like, that's a great point. Like, as an athlete, you don't know when it's going to come to an end. You could keep putting your body in the best shape. You could keep trying your hardest to make sure that you never have any setbacks. You can do all the things. You can do all the things. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, you're an athlete, you're a competitor, and no athlete starts their career thinking about the end of their career, right? There might be athletes that go into being a professional athlete because they want to make the Hall of Fame. Okay. End of your career, you want to be a Hall of Famer? Very fair goal. But then when it comes down to it, you just don't know, right? You don't know when to hang it up. You don't know when all of a sudden it's going to fall off the rails. Peyton Manning is a great example. Peyton Manning was the best quarterback or one of the best quarterbacks in the league for the longest time. Goes to the Denver Broncos, plays really well. They lose the Super Bowl in like one of the greatest years he's ever had, okay? The next year they come back, they're still really pretty good, right? And then that final year, all of a sudden you're like, what happened to Peyton Manning? He looks old. He couldn't move. Now he really can't move, right? And then he got benched for Brock Osweiler. And you're like, oh, no. Now Peyton came off of that benching, figured out how to be a game-managing quarterback, managed what he needed to manage, didn't turn the football over, played good enough, bring the Denver Broncos to the Super Bowl at the end of that year. And then he hangs them up. Well, you look back and you're like, you think very fondly of Peyton Manning's career, including the most final moments of his career because he won the Super Bowl. But had Peyton Manning's career ended getting benched by Brock Osweiler in the 6th game of the season and not playing the rest of the year, I can promise you that the remembrance of Peyton Manning may not be the same, because at the end, it was only bad. And that's what's happening to Tiger Woods right now. He is going to be remembered more for the years of bad golf he played on the PGA Tour than the years of good golf that he played on the PGA Tour that essentially turned golf into what it is at the current moment. At this moment, I need you to remember to get us on social media, The Rome Show 1, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all of the things. I need you to remember to head over to the website, RomeShowShop.com, promo code Rome at checkout. That's RomeShowShop.com, promo code Rome at checkout. We continue. There was a major injury in Los Angeles the last few days. Not the Lakers, not the Dodgers anymore. We talked about the Mookie Betts one. But with the Los Angeles Sparks. That is right. Cameron Brink, the number 2 overall pick for the Sparks, recently tore her ACL and will be out for primarily the remainder of this season. Brink wrote in an Instagram post, "You never think it will happen to you, and despite all of the hard work, sometimes it does. This is hard to fathom, but I know it will only make me stronger. I will not be derailed, and I will continue to love this life. I'm not defined by basketball, but it's something that I love deeply, and I will work every day to get back to. It's not goodbye basketball, it's a see you later. I'm always thankful for your thoughts and prayers." In her rookie season, Brink has averaged 8.1 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks. Less than 4 minutes into the game the other day is when she tore the ACL. I got to tell you, and by the way, Brink's a national champion under Tara Vanderveer at Stanford in 2021. I got to tell you, I mean, think about it. I took WNBA players in my daily picks this week. We've talked about Caitlin Clark a multitude of times. We've talked about Angel Reese. We talked about the national championship, the draft, right? The first 15 games of the season. We're talking about Cameron Brink now. I do not care what you think about Caitlin Clark. I do not care what you think about Caitlin Clark if you're a WNBA player. I don't care if you think the Caitlin Clark thing is ridiculous. Can you please think about this for a quick second? We now have players in the WNBA tearing their ACL, and they are front page stories on ESPN.com. There is a legitimate interest in the WNBA right now. Legitimate interest. And that has all been stemmed, and it is all derived from Caitlin Clark. That's just the facts. Cameron Brink won a natty in 2021. And if you follow college basketball, of course you know who she is, right? But I heard this point the other day by a prominent radio host, and I'm going to copyright that prominent radio host. He said, Angel Reese needs Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark does not need Angel Reese. And that's the truth, right? You don't tune in to watch Angel Reese. You don't tune in to necessarily watch Cameron Brink, but everyone's been tuning in to watch Caitlin Clark. But because that's gone on the last 2.5 years, and more so the last 365 days, you now know more about Cameron Brink. You know who Angel Reese is. And then even further down the line, Agumbawale, Wilson, Plume, right? Kelsey Plum, she was the all-time leading scorer in the NCAA. I had no clue. No clue whatsoever until Caitlin Clark started to break that record. And let's not act like Kelsey Plum is somebody that started her career in the WNBA 25 years ago. No. She's like a 6-year veteran. She broke that record during my lifetime. I could promise you, I don't even remember that happening. I remember more UConn women's basketball winning titles. I could tell you more people that played there. I could tell you that Sabrina Ionescu played at Oregon because it's random as heck, right? I could tell you more of those things than that Kelsey Plum was the all-time leader in NCAA points until Caitlin Clark broke the record. So, in a weird way, no matter the story, injury, excitement, fight, doesn't matter. It's all going to come back to what Caitlin Clark has done for the game. Now it's up to these other women like Cam, maybe like Angel Reese, like others, younger, older, doesn't matter who you are in the league, to continue to make it interesting and pass that torch. That is the most important thing. And so I wish Cameron Brink nothing but the best. I think LA Sparks have not been anything in a long time. I think since Lisa Leslie played there. They're 4-11 this year. They finally got some excitement rolling, and Cam tears her ACL. So I wish her nothing but the best, and I look forward to continuing this interesting journey I'm on of watching WNBA basketball. One more story before our commercial break. So a wild situation happened with the Super Bowl rings for the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? On the, what's the name of the podcast those dudes have? New Heights podcast that Jason and Travis Kelce have. Jason Kelce pointed out that there was a major goof on his brother's Super Bowl ring. That is right. On the ring has the Miami Dolphins listed as the number 7 seed, which in fact, they were the number 6 seed in the playoffs. I guess the ring commemorates each score of each game to lead them to the Super Bowl. And they put the seeding there, and they messed up the Dolphins' seeding. This is what Travis Kelce had to say. I don't give a bleep. No, hold on. I don't give a, no, wait, I don't give a, nope, I don't give a, I don't know if we have one. I don't give a, no, I like it. I like it that we don't give a about what seed Miami is. They were the 7th. Who cares? They could have done no seeds on the side of them. I would have been fine, he said. Like, oh yeah, we made it really detailed and oops, screwed it up. Just makes it more exclusive. We screwed up something that means nothing, he said. And not saying that the ring means nothing, saying that the goof means nothing. I'll finish with this. Among the features on this Super Bowl championship ring, which is the 3rd for Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce, and the 2nd in as many years, the ring has a Tom and Jerry diamond thing. I guess that was the name for the play with which they won the Super Bowl in overtime on. I don't know if everyone remembers that, but it was an overtime victory for the Super Bowl. The ring has 529 diamonds, 38 rubies, and 14.8 carats worth of gems. Yeah. I don't know if I would really care about the seed number. And he's right. It is unique. It's kind of funny how you have all this money. You're spending all of this money on over 400 rings for your organization, and no one thought, maybe we should double check everything on the ring before we build these. Wild to me. Multi-billion-dollar company. Multi-billion-dollar business. But hey, we're all human. And I hope that tells you at the little mom and pop shop that maybe can't afford the extremely big carats, or maybe you're a jeweler and you're like, man, I keep messing up. I got to figure this thing out. Don't worry. Even the Kansas City Chiefs jeweler messes up. We don't mess up by getting to our commercial breaks because that's what helps pay for our show. So we're going to do that. You got to come back with us on the back end because Monty Williams was fired by the Detroit Pistons. And, of course, I have to give you our daily picks, which you need to hear the Rome Show, 12ouncesports.com. We are broadcast live, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And we will be back after this commercial break.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Yeah.
It's the Rome Show!
That's right, it's the Rome Show here, 12ouncesports.com. Broadcast live, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Follow us on social media, the Rome Show 1, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. Shoot us an email, theromeshow1@gmail.com. Support the show, romeshowshop.com. That's romeshowshop.com. We want you to be electric, and the only way you can do that is heading to romeshowshop.com. Let's finish going. So here's the deal. The Detroit Pistons fired their head ball coach, Monty Williams. That's right. Monty Williams, formerly of the Phoenix Suns, that helped lead the Phoenix Suns to the finals a few years ago, was fired after one season with the Detroit Pistons. Some interesting stuff going on here, but let's give you some backstory first. Last year, Monty Williams signed a 6-year, $78 million contract with the Detroit Pistons, okay? And the idea there is we're going to take some time and turn this thing around, all right? Well, recently, the Detroit Pistons got a new president of basketball operations, Trajan Langdon, okay? And he has been with the organization for one singular month, and he's been meeting with Monty Williams regularly. And I guess after a month of meeting with the head coach, decided, yeah, we're going to fire this guy. And it kind of comes at a pretty inopportune time because we got the NBA draft coming up very shortly, and the Detroit Pistons have the number 5 overall pick. Furthermore, the Detroit Pistons still owe Monty Williams $65 million. Like, what? $65 million. And I get it. Last year, they had a 28-game losing streak. They were 14-68. But I don't believe the Detroit Pistons thought last year, with the youngest team in the league, and by the way, the plan for this rebuild, to go out and win 30 games. And what was the line? What did the new basketball operations guy need? And so I think I decided after reading this story and thinking about this situation, okay, it's not Monty Williams. It's simply the Detroit Pistons. Some organizations are just bad. There's no way around it. Because it's an overtime situation that has led these organizations to consistently be bad ownership or decisions for certain GMs or giving players bad contracts or coaches bad contracts or whatever the case is. And there's no more defining stat for the Detroit Pistons than what they've been the last 5 seasons. The Pistons have finished with a franchise record 68 losses last season, okay? They have the 3rd worst winning percentage in any 5-game span in NBA history, trailing just two seasons from one team, the Vancouver Grizzlies. So the Detroit Pistons, for this 5-game span, are worse than some team that doesn't even exist anymore. Like, what? That is actually embarrassing. And then you go out and you hire a respectable coach who in his career with the Suns was 194 and 115, including bringing them to the championship 3 years ago. And furthermore, he coached the Pelicans to a 173 and 222 record in 5 seasons and brought them to the playoffs, which, as you probably can see in New Orleans, does not happen often. So I don't know, man. I have no clue what the hell Detroit and this dude, Trajan Langdon, were thinking. But I have to imagine the easiest way to hemorrhage your franchise, the easiest way to make your franchise suck for a really long time is to do exactly what the Detroit Pistons are doing. And I feel terrible. I mean, I don't feel terrible for Monty Williams from a money standpoint, but I can't imagine he coached the Detroit Pistons just for the $68 million. And if he did, this could have been the best okey doke you've ever seen in your entire life, because you could have fooled me. And if the Detroit Pistons really thought we're going to make this guy the highest paid coach, and the owner who is in charge of the entire organization really believed in him and gave him that money for a reason, well, I don't see how it's even a thought that you would fire him after one season. But that is what happened, and Detroit is looking for a new head coach. And we are going to look to see if we can make some daily picks for the people. So let's get into quite possibly my favorite segment of the day. All right, so yesterday we went all WNBA action for our daily picks, and it really worked out for us. We'll start with the Indiana Fever. We took Caitlin Clark at 20-plus points. She did not score 20. She scored 18, but she had a double-double, 18 points, 12 rebounds. So we missed out on that one, but we did take Indiana to beat Washington by more than 4.5 points, and Indiana beat Washington by 7 for their third straight victory, 88-81. So we went 1-1 there. And then we took our favorite women's basketball player outside of Caitlin Clark, A'ja Wilson of the Las Vegas Aces. We took her at 25-plus points, and we nailed that because she scored 27 in a 94-83 victory over the Seattle Storm. So a 2-1 day yesterday for the kid, and an overall record of 36-23. Let's get into it. Tonight, we got 2 for you. That's right. We have 2 picks for you today. The first one is in Major League Baseball. It is the Kansas City Royals. They are taking on somebody, and we are taking them at over 4.5 runs scored. They are playing the Oakland Athletics. And I don't know if you know much about the Athletics, but all you need to know is they are like the 3rd worst team in Major League Baseball. Casey's 41-34, playing good baseball. I'm going to go ahead and take the Royals at over 4.5 points. And then I'm going to go to golf. That is right. Got all fired up talking about Tiger Woods. We're going to go with Wyndham Clark. He is going to shoot under a 68.5 today in his first round at the, I believe it is Travelers Championship. So I got Wyndham Clark minus under 68.5 points at this weekend's Travelers Championship. 68.5 points. Score, duh. The reason why I choose Wyndham Clark is because last year at the Travelers, he never shot a round above a 68. And he's coming off of 2 not very good starts. One, especially in the U.S. Open, the other in Memorial. But before that, he was really cooking, and I think he'll get back to that. And even if it's not a great weekend, I could see him having a great round 1. So give me Wyndham Clark under 68.5 and give me KC over 4.5 runs. That ladies and gentlemen, is the Rome Show here on a Thursday. We appreciate you for tuning in. This will become a podcast in the next 30 minutes, so send it to a friend if you would like to. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Follow us on social media. Head to RomeShowShop.com. Support the show. And until then, Andrew Romanella saying, peace!
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.